Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the IR podcast in quarantine. This episode is brought to you by the Incandescent Review, a nonprofit teen-run literary magazine. The IR podcast is hosted by 4 teenagers across the U.S., and we talk about topics relevant to our life and larger issues going on in the world. In this episode, we'll be discussing social media and modern loneliness. I'm Ocean.
I'm Angeli.
I'm Katie.
I'm Ethan.
So instead of doing the normal mental check-in we do, I thought I would ask you guys a question. How often are you using social media right now
All
during
the
quarantine?
time. All the time.
Yeah, basically, whenever I'm not doing homework or like working on the magazine or talking to someone over FaceTime, then I'm basically using social media.
Yeah,
Cool.
This quarantine has definitely increased everyone's screen time drastically because everyone is just trying to kill time. And I think a big portion of that time is dedicated to social media. And I know personally, ever since quarantine started, my screen time hasn't dropped below like 12 hours.
Wow.
No, yeah, I think that like, especially now in quarantine, everyone's like devoid of like human contact, and so social media is kind of like that outlet where you can connect with different people, even if it's not like ideal, like face to face. It's still like a means through which you can like connect with your friends or family members.
Yeah, I checked my Instagram activity and it says my daily average is 3 hours and 11 minutes.
Not bad.
And I don't know how to feel about that.
I feel
how
like that's pretty normal.
Yeah, that's you're weak, Ocean. Okay, leave it to the professionals.
That's like a couple of hours. That's like what my normal was.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
And then lower, obviously. It was like 2. Mine was
This
2
quarantine
hours.
is just, this quarantine is just exposing which one of us had lives before quarantine and which one of us didn't.
No.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel when you're on social media? Do you feel, or do you even, like, think about how you feel? I don't know.
I mean, it just feels like a way to pass the time at this point.
Yeah, to distract yourself.
Yeah.
And
I definitely feel like it's been a huge distraction, especially from things I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I know that there are times when I find it difficult to do something that I don't want to do, like algebra homework. I'm sorry, Miss Joe, but I can't algebra 2. Like, I feel like it's very easy to just pick up your phone and do something that you would rather spend your time on.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying that they're really grateful that this quarantine happens in this technological advanced time so they can stay connected. So how has social media helped you to stay connected with other people?
I mean, it's certainly gotten me to talk to more people. I mean, I would not have, like, Ocean and Ethan, I both knew you before, but we didn't ever, like, reach out that much. And so this has, like, gotten a lot of people a lot closer.
yeah, I think for me, like, I agree with Katie. It's gotten me a lot closer with different people, but it's also like, I think a lot of it has like it's made light of the situation, and so I don't feel like whatever like as alone in quarantine or like as sad about the situation because like I can see like a meme or a joke about it and it'll be funny and I laugh about what's happening in the world right now instead of like watching the news and like just I don't know getting my spirits down. So like, definitely the jokes have helped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like what we all need right now is like we're all spending so much time looking at like the death rates rising and like the amount of known cases and just like worrying if someone we know is going to get. And I just feel like the jokes about it have made it a bit easier to get through. They certainly haven't resolved it, obviously, but they're like a good coping mechanism to have right now.
Definitely.
Yeah, I feel like part of my 3 hours, the majority of my 3 hours on Instagram are spent talking to people in the incandescent actually, because our magazine is formed on social media. Like Ariel reached out to me on Instagram and she was like, "Hey, do you want to be a part of a magazine?" And I said yes, and that's how we started. And I started like talking to everyone in the team and forming some relationship. And also we hold our meeting on Discord, and we're recording our podcast on Anchor right now. So I guess it's a good thing.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, it also
I have
there are also like
Yeah.
we touched on this in the last podcast, but there are like a few negatives to social media, and I think one of the most glaring for me, at least, is like the amount of hate that can spread on social media, and especially hate towards certain groups of people. So obviously, right now it would be like racism towards like Asians and Asian Americans, but I think like that's one of the negatives because when you're spending so much time and you're seeing that everywhere, like you kind of get bogged down in it. So you just have to remember not to get lost in social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that social media has always been a double-edged sword. And my dad actually mentioned this to me because, like, with all the hate and all of the negativity that's spread on social media, we just kind of become numb to it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me that back in like the 80s, he saw this clip of this really like there was this murder, or not a murder. um Someone died because they fell into like the train tracks or something, right? And it was like he said that it was something that he never forgot, and it was something that was very like it stuck with him
This is going to sound
throughout.
very off
Like,
topic, but that actually happened in my town a couple of months back.
Mm.
oh
Wait,
my gosh.
really?
Yeah, it's very devastating, and it's a very like gruesome thing to imagine. But he compared that to now, where our generation is exposed to that kind of thing on social media all the
Mm-hmm.
time, and we've just grown accustomed to it, which is something that's kind of scary to think about, and something that a lot of us don't even realize because it's just so normalized in our culture.
Yeah, we're desensitized to the horror news, actually, sometimes. I feel like when you look at it often enough, it just becomes a number to you.
Yeah.
But social media has also provided us with good things that have, like, social media has definitely provided us with a way to spread awareness and like have our voices be heard on a larger platform. And I think that that's also important for people to be able to express what they believe in a way that is constructive and a way that other people can see and have something to think about, because there are people on social media who do things in a respectful manner, even though there are also a lot of people who are hateful and spiteful. There's good to it as well, such as connecting with other people and sharing their opinions.
Yeah, we're not even building a personal connection. I live in rural Missouri, and I don't see a lot of people like me here. So it really helped at the beginning to like look up people on social media that I can relate to, and you see your experience like reflected in them, and that kind of give you some sort of hope in the future for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Um, Another thing about staying connected is that like so the pandemic has made us miss out on a lot of things and a lot of plans that we had, and I know that everyone is super sad about that, but there are some things that we're able to do through technology and through social media that have helped to ease that a little bit and give us a sense of normalization in a time where everything is so scary and new and different, because there's not really a protocol for what to do during a pandemic in the sense of like how to feel or how, because none of us have ever experienced this before. So that's definitely provided everyone with a sense of comfort. Like, I know that certain artists have been doing free concerts and live streams,
Mm-hmm.
and that's been helping a lot of people get through it.
Yeah. And then there's John Krasinski, who started his own like talk show. There's like air quotes around that, called Some Good News, and like he focuses just on like the good things that are happening in the world right now. And he had guests on, like one of them I think was like the entire cast of Hamilton, and they sang.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they sang a song
Wow.
for a fan. I think they sang the intro, and that was so
that's so
sweet.
That's
sweet.
awesome.
And that was really nice of him to do. And like I full on like, yeah, it was amazing. And he also did a virtual prom for people because my prom was supposed to be last Friday. So
Yeah, I'd be surprised if
Oh,
anyone's prom was actually not canceled. I'd be pretty surprised.
yeah.
Yeah. I feel bad for
honestly,
class of 2020. Just to preface, I mean not really preface because we're kind of in the middle. Okay. Just to preface, Katie and Ocean are class of 2020.
I'm actually class of
2022.
I'm actually class of 2021.
2021, baby.
Wait a second.
I'm a junior.
Oh wait, I forgot that junior prom was a thing for a second. Wait. Okay, that's why I was
It's
so
one of
confused because I was
two
like, I thought that you
dances
were
at
a
my
junior.
school. It's one of two dances. We get the
Oh.
junior prom and the senior prom, and that's it.
Our school just has senior prom, so I forgot that was a thing.
It's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
Katie,
No, because
Yeah.
I was fairly sure.
Katie, and Andrew, our school
Yeah.
is so tiny that everyone can go to prom.
Yeah.
Damn.
Same with
What?
me.
Wait, how many people go to your
Ocean.
school?
Yeah,
Like the juniors
my
and
high
seniors have
school.
one prom.
My high school is like 45 people.
45 people?
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah.
How is that?
Wait,
That
45
sounds
people in one grade
interesting.
or in the whole high school?
No, 45 people, the whole high school.
Oh.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
It
So you
kinda
guys have like one class for like the whole.
How many
The whole
kids are in your
grade.
grade?
Well, we actually have a fairly large class. We have 16 people.
Oh.
And going to a
That's a
small
large
school kind of sucks because you can't avoid people when you want to. I'm sorry if anyone is listening to this, my classmates. Yeah.
Hopefully they're all
Oh
nice
my
kids
gosh.
though.
16 people is my AP music theory class, and that's the smallest class that I have, bro.
Really?
Oh.
Like most classes are about 20 to 25 people. And I know that this like there's a school in my neighborhood that's like really like there's a lot of people that go there, and they have like 30 something kids to a class. So I think I prefer small classes though,
Same.
because
Me
it's
as
like
well.
you get more attention to like the things that you need help with, right? But there's also the point of like you can't really blend in or like hide back when you don't know the answer, or like when you want to look down because you want to avoid the teacher.
I think small classes only work if the teacher is nice, because then you can be comfortable with the teacher and you don't have to like hide in those situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
Yeah, small classes with nice teachers are the best.
I really value like close relationship with teachers.
Mhm.
Like all the teachers I had are amazing, except that one transphobic one. But if you like small class size, you should look into going to a liberal art college like Kenyon. Like you guys should come to Kenyon.
Kenyon.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
Everyone met at Kenyon except for me.
poor Anjo.
Yeah, a lot of times, this is like off when we're not working, they'll make references to people who work there or something, and I'm like, who's that? And I made this comment yesterday, but I feel like that one character in those poorly made TV shows that is simply there to ask questions because they don't know, so that they can explain to the audience what's going on.
Wait, Ethan, were you section 2?
I was.
Yeah, we were all session 2.
Yeah, I remember. I
Right.
remember you, Ocean. I remember you liked the birds a lot.
I just remember the name
Thanks.
Ethan, and I think you were the only one.
No, I remember you, but again,
Also, I
never
already
mind.
followed you on Instagram, so that was like, oh yeah, he was session 2.
Oh yeah.
Hey, but Ocean, you don't remember?
Yeah?
You don't remember me? Like, remember the my like reading to the camp was my letter to my friend Robert.
Yeah, I remember
remember
that.
that?
Okay,
Can you
cool.
remind
Yeah.
me of that?
Yeah, I basically like remember one of the prompts was like write a letter to a close family member or friend you haven't seen in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I chose to write a letter to my friend Robert.
Okay, I like that.
I remember you reading that. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Now I can
That's
match
funny.
the person with the
Okay,
face.
let's go.
Oh yeah, like when you follow someone on Instagram for a long time and then you finally see them in person, it's like, oh, it's you! You're real! Hey! Hi!
You at
Oh,
Ethan
speaking of
Fan
Instagram,
with 2 N's.
with 2 N's because he's special.
Because the one
No,
N was taken.
Which also comes with another thing about social media. I'm just trying to get us back on topic.
Nice segue, segue, okay.
Yeah, I actually, when you guys were talking about matching the person to the face, I was thinking that I was having a conversation with my teacher the other day, and he was talking about the reason social media sometimes left us feeling isolated is because our brain is not wired to talk to another human being through a screen. Like, it just doesn't provide you the same psychological or neurological feeling that I'm obviously not an expert of, but yeah.
Yeah.
I know that it's like not the same, and I definitely felt that way because I had tickets to go see BTS this this May, and I'm very devastated because I saw them like last year, and it's still the best day of my life. But anyway, instead what they decided to do is like BTS had a 2-day online event called Bang Bang Con where they streamed their past concerts from 2014 till now, and they held it for 12 hours each day because their fan base is so global that they wanted to include all the different time zones. But a lot of people ended up watching for all 12 hours anyway, so like I don't know. I wasn't one of those people, but I salute those people. I can't sit in front of a screen for 12 hours, but if I could,
I mean,
I
used to
would.
I used to watch
Anyway.
the Critical Role live stream, and that's like 4 hours every Thursday night, and it starts at 10 p.m. for me because of my time zone. But I still watch it because I know I'm not going to watch it at any other time because I do not have that time on my hands. So I just like sacrifice sleep on Thursday nights, and I'm like, yeah, I can do this.
Come into school Friday.
Be like, did you watch
it was
that
worth it."
episode last night? No, I went to bed at a reasonable hour. You missed out, bro.
So, do you guys feel like social media discourage you from in-person connection?
I
ever?
mean, I did a
No.
bit because I was always like, oh, I can text my friends. I don't need to see them every day because I always have, I can always communicate with them. Like, then this is much easier sometimes than meeting up in person. And then it, like, sometimes I would reach out and be like, hey, do you want to go out to lunch today and stuff like that. And yeah, sometimes we would, but other times it was just easier because sometimes we had to be at a certain place, so it just made it easier to stay like connected over social media.
Yeah, I had a similar experience as Katie where like I kind of thought, oh, text is so easy. Why would anyone need to, like FaceTime or like meet up as often? Like I feel like I can just text. But then I started to realize that like text is nice, but the interactions were kind of like unsatisfying after a certain point. And so that's when I started to realize like the importance of face-to-face interaction and the importance of like real life interaction.
Yeah, I feel guilty because I feel really anxious in social situations, and so instead of reaching out to new people in real life, I sometimes just like talk to my internet friends instead. It's just the easier choice, but I sometimes doubt that if it's the correct
You shouldn't
choice.
feel guilty about that though,
Yeah.
because like the world is a mean place, and like we all have like the right to feel like anxious in social situations, and especially for you, like it's tough because like you're a transgender man, and so like people aren't always going to accept you, and so it's like a rational fear, and
Yeah,
I think you shouldn't feel
Yeah,
guilty about that.
sometimes you just feel more comfortable
thank you.
communicating with people through
Especially,
a screen, and there's nothing to be ashamed of about that.
yeah, especially like if they're your online friends and you physically can't meet with them in person, like they're still your friends, you know? So you shouldn't feel guilty about talking to them just because they're not like near you, you know? I mean, if they were near you, then you guys would probably meet up anyway. So
True.
it's just a matter of like how you can communicate versus the quality of the communication, you know?
Yeah.
But for me personally, um, I always preferred meeting in person rather than talking online. Usually, what I would do is I would use text messages in like solely for the purpose of meeting online or like meeting in person, or because we couldn't meet in person. Like that's always how I viewed it. But if anything, this quarantine has made me value physical interaction even more. And I think I prefer hanging out with someone face to face than texting, but I'm still grateful to be able to communicate with people at all during this time because some people aren't as fortunate and they can't afford, you know, like phone service, they can't afford things that we take for granted
Yeah,
sometimes,
I
especially
that's
now.
Yeah.
1000% true.
That's true. And I also just want to hug
Yeah.
all my friends right now.
Oh my gosh, I can,
Yeah.
as soon as we get out, I'm gonna give
Yeah, I
everyone
think
like the
everyone's gonna
biggest
do that.
hug.
They're just
Yes.
gonna be like, I haven't seen you in so long. I've missed you. I thought you were dead.
It's been, I thought you were dead. And y'all text last night, I thought that you
You
were
arranged to
dead.
meet up
Oh my
there.
gosh. Oh my gosh. Like, oh my gosh, you're still real?
I feel that. Sometimes you
I was
just
starting
don't
Yeah,
to
feel
think you were
real.
a figure of my imagination, but
because
oh, no, you weren't.
Oh yeah.
especially I have friends from Canada because one dual citizenship gang, you know? But two two because I went to a camp there over the summer. And I made a lot of friends there and we've kept in touch for years, you know, and then every year I come back and I'm like, "Oh, it's you. I know you." And it's a very strange feeling. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like when you see someone after so long and it's like you know them, but it's just very hard to match what like the conversations that you have online without being with them in person to finally being able to
Yeah, there's
converse
definitely
face
like
to
a
face.
difference. Like, because you feel like, oh, I'm finally hearing you talk for the first time, and like either such a long time or for the first time ever. And it's just like, oh, this is very
Yeah.
different than talking online.
When I go to Kenyan camp, I did not expect to keep in touch with as many people
That's so
from the
true.
workshop
That's so
Yeah.
true.
as I am now. It's like back in February, me and a friend just happened to be in Chicago in the same day, and we're like, we neither of us live in Chicago, and we're like, what the heck? And we met up, and it was like, it just feel insane that we can like see each other after the
Yeah,
workshop.
that's nice.
Yeah, so sometimes I go on socially distant walks those days, and I wear my earphones and listen to music. But like sometimes I wonder if that distract me from listening to the sound of nature or human interaction. Like obviously we're gonna stay 8 feet apart. It's 8 instead of 6, I think. But people still wave or smile or nod at each other, and I think that's kind of a nice gesture to have. And if sometimes I'm too in my own head, that's not good.
I think I'm biased because I use my headphones a lot for like everything, and I don't feel comfortable leaving the house without headphones, you know, because one, I have like social anxiety, so it's very hard for me to feel like I'm not necessarily safe, but like I have a safety net or something to fall back on if I'm outside of the house like without my headphones. And today actually, or every socially distanced walk that I've gone on since quarantine started, which is like only a couple of times, but I have always taken my headphones out, and if I don't see someone with someone else, they always have their headphones on. So, I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of a an unspoken thing that people use, I guess, and it's very calming to me, and I don't know. I think that it's not so much, even though it distracts us from not necessarily, okay. I think that it's not so much taking away from our experience of being with other people as it is adding to our experience of self-reflecting while we're walking by ourselves, you know. And I think that quarantine in itself has allowed a lot of people to self-reflect and,
Yeah.
you know, tune out the things that are,
Yeah, I know whenever
you
I'm
know,
on my
yeah,
walks, like before,
tune
even
out
before
things.
this, going to school, coming back, walking my dog, I always had earbuds in because I was always like, this is like a time where I can just be alone, be myself, listen to the music I like or whatever I want to. And it just, and then now, like when you're walking by yourself, like in a time of social distancing, it makes you feel like more at ease and stuff. And I find that the time goes by a bit quicker.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
I'm a really jumpy person. This is unrelated. So sometimes when I listen to songs, I just like start jumping, which is obviously fun because I look 12 and like people just accept me as a kid. So our last bullet point is, how does social media fuse the competition culture? And does it give you unrealistic expectation of
I mean,
life?
sometimes definitely, like, because I'm always like, why am I not out with my friends, like, coming up with amazing life stories like all of these other people seem to be doing? But then I'm always like, well, maybe I don't post a lot of the fun things that I do with my friends. So, like, social media doesn't have to reflect, like, how, like, good or bad your life is. And then also, like, with the competition thing, like, it's just sometimes you see, oh, this kid got into here and that kid got into there, and I don't think it makes anything more competitive than it would have been already.
That's true, but I live in a really sheltered place, or like I live in a bubble, if you may say, and I generally don't know what other kids my age are doing, or especially like high achieving kids are doing
Yeah,
if I
so
don't go on social
I think social
media.
media definitely.
So
Yeah, I think Ocean's way of like just liking writing for writing is something that like a lot of us lose sight of because you see like I'm not gonna name names, but you see certain people like with like all these awards and like all these like recognitions for writing and it just like it looks nice and it you feel like it would be nice to get this stuff and you remember like you're in this because you like writing. So like forget that.
Yeah, that's always important to remember. Also,
mhm.
wait, Ocean, didn't you win
Oh my
like
gosh.
something? NaNoWriMo? Did you win
Something.
that?
Oh wait,
Yes,
that's
it is.
not a competition. That's just Okay. Let me introduce this to our listeners because I think it's a really nice organization. So, National Novel Writing Month is a website or like it's a global organization that you can participate in every November, and you win if you write 50,000 words in November. And it's not a competition in the sense that you're competing with other people. It's just a great tool to keep yourself accountable and like encourage yourself to finish your novel. See, that's what I mean.
I think that it's easy for people who don't necessarily have a bunch of awards in a certain thing to become discouraged about something, because I know that I've definitely felt that way looking at all the amazing writers that we have in our staff. And it's just important to remember, like, keep that energy that you're not doing it for anyone else. Like, you're doing it because you yourself want to improve. Because I remember in the beginning when I first started composing music, I was looking for competitions and things because I wanted to see in the future when I grew where I could
Yeah.
like send my music into, right? And I was looking at some of the winners and I got so discouraged automatically. And I think that that's like such a fixed mindset to have, because we should look at those people and be like, hey, I see that this person is doing something really great, and that's the caliber that I want to hold myself to, and then work your way up to that, because that's what I ended up doing for that. But I think that that can be applied to a lot of things, and social media makes it easy for us to forget that, but
Hmm.
it's an important thing to remember.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you should never
definitely.
like compare yourself to others in like a sense that makes you like degrading way.
Hmm.
I can't speak today.
Yeah, but I think this problem is like especially prevalent among like maybe it's because like we are all in the writing community in some way, but especially in the writing community, this problem of like getting awards and prestige and like having your writing be recognized. I think it's a big problem because people think that that is what makes writing, but really it's just you writing and like you wanting to write.
Yeah, but also one of the reasons that the writing community is becoming toxic is because the different publishing experience that we are dealing with right now. Like I feel like in the past you just have to write a novel and you have to pitch it to someone and then you can get published. But right now you have to really have an audience or get some sort of recognition for the publisher to even consider you, if that makes sense.
I think that um definitely like one of the things that kind of made me feel that way is when we were first starting the Incandescent and everyone was writing their bios, and I was like, okay, cool, right? So then I found it really hard to write about myself. So I wrote like two sentences and I was like, okay, this is everything that people need to know about me. It's to the point, it's perfect. And then I sent it in, and then later when we were gonna go public with our website, I was like, oh, maybe I should look at everybody else's profile just to, see, like, get to know my staff better or whatever, or the people that I'm working with, right? And then I saw like full on essays and paragraphs, and I was like, oh no, what have I done? What have I
Yeah, I
done?
saw like some
And
other people's things before I submitted my bio, and I was like, "Oh my god, I have no idea what to say." Like these people like are so accomplished, and like that is a total compliment to our fellow staff members. Like they're all so talented, and then
yeah, our staff
you
is
look at that
awesome.
stuff, and you're like, "Oh." You have to like scramble to think, "Oh, I have to put whatever I've accomplished on here." When in reality, it's not a competition. We are all on the
Yeah,
same
exactly.
writing team or staff, and we are all a part of it, like no matter what our level of expertise is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that definitely mimics social media and just like society in
Hmm.
general and
Yeah,
our social
everything's become a
norms.
competition these days.
By the way, I just read YouTube's bios and they are
Aw,
funny and
Thank
awesome.
you.
So don't worry
Oh,
about
thank
it.
you. Yeah, I ended up changing my bio and writing more because I was like,
Do you wanna
this doesn't look good.
Do you want to see
But
our
I'm
bios?
happy with
It's
the way that it
Anjali
turned out. So
Jimenez. It's Katie D'Angelo, Ocean Way, and Ethan Pham.
Yes.
yeah, you should totally check us out on
Yeah, we're a .org.
theincandescentreview.org.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're special.
You guys said my outro. Now I have nothing to say.
Well,
Just
cut it
kidding.
out.
Oh, sorry. Okay, we can
No,
get that part out.
you're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. I was kidding. That was a
No,
joke.
okay.
Are we
Wait,
done?
Why don't you say it then? Yeah.
I feel
just
like-
say,
Are we
yeah,
done?
you could totally check us out. Yeah, I think that we're done.
Yeah, if you want more contents from us, don't forget to check out our blog and our spring issue on theincandescentreview.org. Thank you so much for listening to the IR podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode tremendously. Please like, subscribe, and leave a review. We are all pretty new to this, so any support would mean a lot to us. Please go follow us on Instagram at The Incandescent Review. The submission for our summer issue is already open, and you are more than welcome to submit on our website. I hope you can keep writing even in quarantine.
Hey, it's Anjali. From the Incandescent Review to you, we would like to wish you all a very happy Father's Day. And speaking of Father's Day, this Sunday, June 21st, our May through June issue will be coming out on the incandescentreview.org. So make sure to keep a lookout for that. And as always, have a lovely day. We hope to see you again soon.